let's just see. So Bob and I are having some technical difficulties this morning. We apologize. We did come on at 11, and we keep getting booted out of our software. So let's just see if we are.
I'm back.
Let's see. What?
Well, I was gone there for a second. Are you checking?
Yeah, I'm on the Pine Point. Ooh, it says we're live.
Oh,
yeah, hey, we are live. All right, so it's working now. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a crazy morning already. So we're gonna cut this short. Live. Yeah, we're here, but we're gonna cut this short. We're gonna jump right into the meat and potatoes of this.
Like we said, Zach, hold on a second. They haven't seen anything this morning. They don't know what's going on. They just know we're late.
They don't?
No, they haven't seen any video at all.
Really?
We haven't connected whatsoever. So
we never connected at all
to the Pine Point Sunday morning show.
Oh, look at this, Bob. It must be working because the eye is on the corner now. Like for viewers on our software, it's working now.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely working now. So
yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, the reason we're late is because we kept having technical difficulties. It kept bouncing us out of the software and ending our stream. And come to find out, we weren't streaming at all. So, so here we are. So real quick, go ahead, Zach.
I don't know. What do you real quick? Bobby got cut out. Hold on.
Here
we go. There we go.
It keeps telling me on my end that we lost connection, and then it pops my camera out, and I got to go back over and turn it back on. That's what's going on.
Weird.
Yeah. So we're having all kinds of technical difficulties this morning, guys, with this program. Don't know why. It's a beautiful sunny day, so you can't blame it on the weather.
No, it's gorgeous over here. Except for the construction somewhere over here, I can hear the birds chirping and
yeah, absolutely. But just in case we do get bounced again, Zach, maybe we do want to get into the meat and potatoes a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get some pretty interesting numbers with the market report coming out. I assume you've got those queued up, Zach.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm gonna go back a month on here just to make sure that we see what we're seeing last month, because it's just jaw dropping. I'm sorry, it's just jaw dropping. Yeah. Let's just see. All right, here we go, guys. Drum roll. Here we go. Here's the numbers. So yeah, this is last month. So April, remember, we were at 400,000. We had a single family inventory of 3,100 in the state. I'm telling you, years ago, this was like 10 plus thousand units.
Yeah, of course, this is statewide.
Yes, this is statewide.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to make sure, if I don't screw it up. So the other thing I want to point out before we go forward, though, back in April, your multifamilies, for your multifamily units, there was only 292 units for sale.
We were talking about that last month.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they're not many.
Under 300. So before the end of the show, I want to make sure we swing around back just to look at that.
Yeah.
But going back to April, so back in April, we were like, oh my gosh, it went up another $25,000. Where the month before, March, we're at 375 for the state.
Right.
So now let's bump ahead to May. 425.
Up another 25,000. Wow.
This is starting to remind me of owning a boat. Another G.
Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that prices or median prices went up throughout the entire state in all communities. No. I think when we were looking at this a little earlier, kind of prepping for the show, we kind of found that it was like 2 or 3 counties that really seemed to take in most of the increase, whereas some of the other counties we saw some decreases.
So real quick, so looking at year over year, I just want to put it up on the screen. So even year over year, we're up 26,000.
Yeah.
But looking at the inventory, it's quite different. That is a good sign for, at least from my perspective,
Yeah.
because we've been having inventory issues this whole time. Inventory year over year, look, we're going up. That's a great thing. New listings, maybe not as high as we want it, but still, we're still up 400 units.
Yeah, well, anytime you can have 50% more inventory in the market is going to be a big help because let's face it, that just provides more properties for folks to look at and hopefully buy.
But if you're looking at the numbers here, though, Bob, this is kind of a not such a great look. Like I said, closed units for May and 25, May 24, really not much different.
Right.
So this could be signs of a buyer's market coming about.
Mm-hmm.
With an inventory crisis, I don't see it coming quick. But when sales, closed units are not going up like the rest of the numbers, because look here, it's not quite double. It's like 1,500 more units.
Yeah, about 50% more.
So about 50% more, but yet our closed sales aren't up. So next month will really give a good determination where this is heading. And looking at this month over month is really the only way to really see it. But let's see. Patricia says, hi, Bob.
Hi, Patricia. How's it going? Patricia's been a dear friend, her and her husband Jim, for a long time. They actually came about on my giveaway show that I used to do.
Yeah. There you go. But back to the numbers, Bob. 425. Like I said, we're at 425. Let's look at the counties. So we're gonna jump over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the last month up just so we can kind of compare it. But if we're looking at counties, we'll start with Androscoggin because that's where our closest one is for us. It actually only went up $3,000, so not a whole ton. But looking at the closed sales, this is a big thing right here.
Yep.
Sales doubled almost.
Yep.
And then down here, new listings, still not the greatest. But everything's still going up, which is a positive. But median sold price per square foot, wow, is down.
Yep.
But let's jump down to the Gold Cumberland. That's where the big doll is at. Let's see. So it went down.
It's gone down 10,000.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thought because we're starting to see one of those big hot markets starting to cool down a little bit there, possibly.
Sales are up though from last month,
but the average a little lower, which is not a bad sign to see.
No, not at all. That could mean a couple things. It could mean we hit the ceiling. It could mean that things might be coming down. But I would say more or less probably the ceiling. Hitting that ceiling. Let's jump down to the bigger money, even bigger money. We'll jump down to York County. Let's see. Going down to York County. So York County shot right up about 70 grand.
Yeah, big increase there.
But good numbers here too, though. Closed sales are up. Even if it's only about 70 sales, that's still up 50. That's 50%.
50%, absolutely.
Active inventory, another great sign. This is always a good sign when we have more inventory. The issue, like I keep saying, is the issue we've been having is we have more buyers than what we have inventory for. And don't get me wrong, let me reiterate that. I find that our clogged amount of buyers, so the overabundance of buyers is in one particular price frame. It's not really your 700,000. It's not your 800,000. All your buyers are at the 300,000 range, or around 300,000. And the sad part is looking at as the average price in the state of Maine is 425,000. Is it how soon is it going to be that we can't get a 300,000 turnkey property? And that's kind of scary, honestly, if you really think about it. Not trying to bring the doom and gloom out, but 300,000, Bob.
Oh, it is a good, it's a healthy number for sure. One that that brings concern, but again, I think we have to kind of put it in perspective with the rest of the
Yeah,
industry, the rest of the market.
for sure. And then one of the positives is not trying to doom and gloom it, but looking at these other numbers, these are good numbers we want to see.
Yeah.
Just because the bigger the active inventory, the more competitive things can be. And I don't mean competitive as in multiple offers. I'm saying competitive is in now the buyer has a fair chance to get a property. The buyer has choices. Right now, unfortunately, like I said, like we were talking last week, at the $200,000 buyer, unfortunately, in the market we're in, it's more or less not picking your house. It's more or less finding a house that will actually fit the bill to get to work. Because the choices there's just not enough choices out there.
Right. Yep, especially in that lower price range for sure.
Yep. Let's go on to Saginaw, another healthy area.
But again, I always want to go back, though, Zach, to the fact that in these days where rents are as high as they are, if you can afford a rent, you could probably afford a home. So keeping that in perspective, I think is a big thing.
So Saginaw County's up 37.5. Closed sales up. It's not as high as we'd like it to be. We'd love to see this number double. Just because that means stuff's moving, but also active inventory is only at 30 units.
But again, we're talking 50% increase.
Just think of this: less than 100 units for a whole county. That's how short of supply we are. 100 units.
Yeah,
like I said, you can go on Lewiston and find a building with 100 units in it.
I don't think we've got quite any that big yet, do we?
I think we're getting there with some of the new developments.
Yeah.
But just the idea that.
Yeah, I suppose some of the larger, communities.
Maybe not one building, but a multiple development building.
Right.
You probably have 100 units in it. Just think, less than an acre of land has 100 units in it, and that's all that they have in all of Saginaw County available for single-family homes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't it? That's just wild to think about. And look at this. Back a month ago, 50 homes available for you to look at in Saginaw County.
Yeah.
It's just wild. I never imagined ever seeing this like this.
But again, Zach, I got to keep coming back to the positive side of things, in that 88 does represent a 50% increase of listings or active inventory over.
I'd say more of a quarter percent increase, but.
Well, what do we got there? We got
80, 30,
36. Yeah, that's more than half of 52.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, no, because we're only going up 36, so that's less than 50. That's over 50. Yeah, 50%. Never mind.
There you go.
You're right.
My numbers, man. Wow. I know my numbers.
You know, Bob. Somebody said they asked me the other day. They're like, can I use a calculator? I'm like, well, of course you can. Smart people use calculators. We don't like wasting our brain for those calculations.
Yeah. I quicker than I can get one out, I can usually get it done. So.
Well, the new multi tool is our phone. Like I have a compass. I got a tape measure in there. I got everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that when and I'm probably dating myself now, but when we used to watch the old Star Trek movies, and you see them talking to the wristwatch and stuff.
Now they're doing it.
Yeah, how absurd we thought that was, and now it's reality.
Let's jump up to Saginaw. So let's jump up to Kennebec. Actually, let's jump to Oxford. Oxford's always
there. We go. Oxford's right in our back county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking at Oxford went up quite a bit, about 60 grand.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? And you would automatically think, well, maybe that has to do with one or two big sales, but we're talking a few sales there.
Mm-hmm. But also the inventory went up about 52. So
huge. Yeah.
Went up about 0.25%, 34% to be exact.
Yeah.
Median sold square footage, so prices are going up there.
Yeah.
New listings, not a hefty amount, but it's still going up. So we like to see up.
Right.
When things are going up. Honestly, this is the number I really don't like seeing go up. Just because it does make things a little tough to make affordability. But in a healthy market, like I said, the inventory is the biggest thing. We need more inventory.
Mhm.
And honestly, this is a great message for anybody that's looking to sell that has some extra inventory. I would never recommend somebody selling their house, their personal house, just because it's worth a ton. Not a good thing. What's your plan after the fact? Don't get me wrong. If you're thinking about it, call Pine Point Realty today. Bob, James, or Brittany, we're all here to help. But like I said, if you have extra homes that you want to just liquidate, this is probably a good time to do it. Numbers are still going up, but along with that, the rest of the market's actually getting healthy. So hopefully, this number will start to come down a little bit as things progress. Like I said, once we have about 700 units in each county, it'll definitely look a whole different ball game.
Be a totally different market.
Oh yeah. Again, back to the 250. So we only have less than 3 of those apartment complexes I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 3 of those in Oxford County. Just think about that.
Right.
So let's jump to Canada. Oh, we'll go to Franklin first. Franklin's kind of goes right along with Oxford. I like Franklin County. So Franklin County is one of those counties which is nice because it's a little bit out from the city, but it also has a lot of affordable choices. So right here, looking at the median price, it actually went down, but closed sales went up.
Yep.
This could be a sign of more homes selling that were overpriced. It could be looking at active inventory. Active inventory is still going up here, so this is all good news.
Yep.
Prices coming down a little bit right here, 194. So square footages went down.
Yep.
But new listings and active inventory is on the way up, and even closed sales have went up a little bit.
Right.
So that's a positive. In contrary, it's going to happen right now anyways, due to the fact that we are in spring, people are moving. This is a hot time for people to buy and sell. Usually they're trying to get stuff under contract. That way, right after school ends, they can move. Stuff like that. So look, Kennebec County, we keep going to Kennebec County. Go up to Augusta. So in Augusta area, we went down.
Down as well.
Which, Bob, looking at all these numbers, you've heard the analogy from the economists that Portland's like the hub, right? For the
Correct.
So it keeps going out. I wonder if this is a sign where, see how Kennebec went down? A lot of your outer counties seem to be going down.
Yep.
I wonder if that's going to play a role coming back in.
Okay. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You're very well maybe right, because we are seeing that in a lot of the other counties for sure.
Yeah, but just something to think about. Like I said, that's a big thing. Now, I really want to flip around because I know with the low inventory, we keep talking about new builds. Let's look at the average price of land. We haven't looked at that, I don't think, ever. So Kennebec County, we'll start with Kennebec. So the average piece of land in Kennebec County is selling for $69,900. 19 units were sold in May and April. But the price of the land went up almost $10,000. Active inventory is up. New listings are only up by 1. That's interesting. Median days on market is way up. So that's an odd situation.
Yeah.
But I know land sells quicker than not usually, but not quicker. It takes longer to sell land.
Right.
But it's funny, median days on the market back here is 7.
Then to 24. Huh.
But it could be just an anomaly too, where this month there were a bunch of pieces of land that came on the market and sold quickly, Where over here, the piece of land that were on the market just sold, that's just
Right.
sitting.
Took a little longer. Yeah. Yeah, it's always tough to kind of really gauge for sure what a reason might be for things going up, things going down. And land is really a tricky one, especially.
So we're gonna jump right back to Androscoggin. Androscoggin. Wow, look at that.
Interesting.
So 84 units in May, 63 units in April. But the average selling price in April, and this has to do with low sales too.
Yeah.
Like I said, you only have 6 sales this month, 8 sales that month. So like I said, you throw a $1 million sale in that mix, say a big commercial piece of land sold here, that could throw these numbers off too.
Yeah.
Usually when we're looking at the median prices, we like to see bigger numbers here just because it gives us a better range than anything.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to say with land too. It's tougher because I mean you can have small pieces of land versus really big pieces of land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to skew the numbers all over the place.
Of course, but then it gets worse. Let's jump over to multifamily. Not trying to jump all over the place, but jumping down to the multifamilies. So we got similar numbers of sales here.
Yep.
We only have 23 active multi-units in Androscoggin County.
Yep. So similar across the board in both those months.
So if you're sitting in a kindergarten class, look at the rest of your students. There's 23 homes.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah. You think about it in that sense. That is pretty insane.
Yeah. So 415, but it did look like sales did come down a little bit. Yeah. But I think it's pretty well median. These prices do seem accurate from shopping around too.
Right. Yeah.
21 new listings, so right on cue there. Looks like it went up last month from the month over month, went up 5%.
Right.
So probably 20.
Yep.
So these numbers really aren't changing a whole ton.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I know we're looking at a number of different numbers. We're looking at single-family homes, different counties and markets. Same with land and multifamilies. What would you say the biggest takeaway should be? Today from what we're talking about.
I think the biggest takeaway is really looking at, and this is what I strive with my clients all the time, is be careful when you're looking at national data. Because right now, if you look at national data, it says inventory is up crazy amounts. Mm-hmm. There's places in this country that you have an abundance of inventory. The state of Maine just does not fit in that mold. I don't think it will for years to come, just because, again, this active inventory is too low, way too low. We're talking 1,000 people, and we have 1,000 people coming into the state quite often, and that takes up that's everything. Mm-hmm. And then on top of it, looking at today's market for both buying and renting, I would hate to be a renter today, and I feel awful because your landlords want you to be as good as a buyer.
Yeah.
Financially.
You're right.
It's kind of crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to clean up my credit so I can buy a house, but I can't even get an apartment.
Yeah. So the moral of that story obviously is number one, keep your credit clean, so that way you don't have that.
And honestly, that's one of the biggest things. I know we keep. I know the Maine Association of Realtors. We had a grant where we've been doing financial classes. Some of the agents in Maine Association of Realtors did some actual financial classes for students in high schools to talk about these things and knowing how important credit really is. I know growing up, credit was just whatever. It's not a big thing, but you need it. But it's funny how important it really is today. And then on top of it, just looking at what numbers really are and how, looking growing up. When I first got into real estate, I could see things from 99, 98, 2000 in the MLS still. And you were talking houses under 100,000. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, Bob, you shopped in those markets yourself. Oh, yeah. So you know that.
I bought my very first 3-family apartment building for $38,500.
One of the first, I almost bought a house when I was 18. It was brand new. It was only $200,000, and it was a big house. So just thinking what you could get for 200,000 back then compared to today, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But times change. Things go up. Things don't go down. They do and they don't. We're never going to see $100,000 turnkey property again, are we?
No.
Probably not. But if we can get these numbers under control and maybe get some wages up a little bit in our communities, it will help the affordability factor or creating more. This is why it's important that we need more builders. We just need more building, period.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we definitely need more builders here in the state of Maine, and I think that's true throughout the country. That'll definitely help that piece of the pie for sure. So yeah, no, I think that's great stuff, Zach.
and then on the flip side of this too, watching us every month, at least once a month, to see these numbers. I just want to make sure that my thing for consumers is getting out there and understanding the reality of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get a turnkey property within 2 hours of Portland for under $150,000.
Yeah. So home ownership itself shouldn't scare you, okay?
No.
Because of the prices or the interest rates or those things. Honestly, it sounds like everything's really going crazy in the market. If you listen to these, things are going up constantly. It's not as bad as it all seems, guys.
No, because if you really look at, well, the other thing too, Bob, if you want to put it that way, another way to look at it is yes, in the year 2000, you could get a house for $90,000.
Mm-hmm.
In 2005, you were upwards of, in 2005 to 2008, everyone was scared after those years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just the end all be all with real estate. And it's kind of a scary thing. But at the end of the day, remember, real estate can't be recreated. Yes, what is on that real estate can be recreated.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual real estate, the land itself, cannot be recreated unless we go get a volcano or go to another planet or vice versa.
Yeah.
So that product will never go to zero. It's always going to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we look at the test of time, wars, people die over this product. Billions and trillions of people have died over land. Look at England. England's a funny fact. If anybody really wants to see something interesting, look at how real estate works in England. Because there really is one lord of the land. And everybody rents from him.
That's what they say anyway.
Yeah. So who was the smart one thousands of years ago? That one person who made that ultimate take.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with how things work over there, but
remember, it was a monarchy.
Yeah.
So you had kings and people that owned land.
Right.
Literally you're renting from them.
Okay.
Somebody said that a good way to understand is watch Downtown Abbey. I can never get into it, but Downtown Abbey was always something somebody said to watch, and you can kind of get a good gist of it. But it's very, very different over there. But back in the United States, but looking through time, people were scared after 2000. I remember in 2011, I couldn't get people to apply for a loan for the life of me. I went through 100 people.
It was a scary time in real estate.
Oh yeah, no, it was. And you could buy a house for $150,000. You could get them dirt cheap. And the problem at that point was there were so many foreclosures that they couldn't release them all without plummeting and everything.
But that was a totally different financial back there that created a lot of that.
But if you keep going up, you could literally buy a house up until about 2020 for under $200,000. Once that 2020 mark hit and COVID went through, supply started to dwindle.
Yep.
Huge influx. And the other thing, again, this is not the story of the country. This is just the story of Maine. So again, when you're watching those national news, you really got to be careful on what you're hearing and how you're taking, even for loan products. Did you know that most of the country is required to have a termite inspection, where we're in a whole different atmosphere? So or a different wavelength, and we don't need it because our area is too cold for them.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, we may or may not have them. I'm not going to say yes or no. I know we have carpenter ants.
Oh, yeah, we've got termites too.
But there are some loans that require termite inspections in other parts of the state. It doesn't qualify for us though, unless you're in somewhere in York County, the lower bits of York County. I think, I'm not sure. I haven't sold enough down there. I'm kind of a central Maine guy or north. But every place is different, and kind of keeping on top of local news and local numbers and understanding what's really going on locally is a big factor when you are looking to buy or sell. And then knowing your end game is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking to change your lifestyle? Are you looking to make some money? And at the end of the day, personally, I would never want to lose my personal house trying to make some money.
Nope, that's very valid point for sure.
Because I don't know about you, but I've run into probably at least 10 people that said they sold in 21, 22, 23, and they're just trying to find another place.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? They don't have enough money.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff. Markets change all the time, and it's important to stay on top of what's going on. And hopefully, our Sunday morning show allows us to go ahead and do that for our folks that listen in, and hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff.
But keep in mind, I'm not all doom and gloom, guys. I know Bob makes me out to sound like this horrible guy, doom and gloom, but it's just more about being realistic, Bob. Realistic, understanding what's really going on, and that's what we're here for. And honestly, at the end of the day, you know what we say?
Talk is free.
That's right. Talk is free, guys. You pick up that phone, you call us, we'll get you the data. And that's what we're here for.
And that's the important thing, I think, Zach, is regardless of what's going on, there are a lot of questions that people have. And the best way to go ahead and get those questions answered is to speak to somebody like ourselves that can help answer those and get you through the process. So, yeah, by all means, give us a call, guys. Talk is free, and we'd love.
I'll try to do the two talk too. If somebody wants to call me in two phones, I'll try to do two. But
yeah, we'll do a conference call.
But until next time, just a heads up, we may or may not be here next weekend. See how Bob's signal is. But
I'm going to North Carolina Monday, guys.
I know. You're leaving me, Bob.
What's that?
You're leaving me behind.
Well, I might have a little place tucked away in the luggage for you, bud. But
yeah, I don't know if I'll fit. I don't know if I'll make it past that 50-pound scale.
Oh yeah, that's true. They do have it now.
Remember, your bags can only be up to 50 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So next Sunday, if we do come on, I don't know. Maybe I'll be at the beach. Maybe I'll be drinking a Bloody Mary. It will be Father's Day, so we'll have to have some sort of special Father's Day edition.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I try to bring the laptop to the pond and do some fishing at the same time, but I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah, the signal might be difficult to get.
Well, that, and I don't want the laptop falling in the lake.
Oh, yeah, good point. But anyway, guys.
Enjoy the beautiful day, guys. Remember, talk is free. Call Bob and I anytime.
Yeah, until next time, guys, expect an amazing day. All right? Take care now.